The battle of the steamers. Hey everybody, I'm here to compare two steamers, the VX5000, the Vapor Chief Steamer Continuous Fill. Both are under $1,000, both are professional machines. So which one should you buy? Which one's better? My review is coming right up. Just go back and forth. So one thing I want to do right now is I want to fill both of these up with water, and I want to time how long does it take for them to get ready. You're on a job, you fill them up with water, and you press the button. Which one is going to be ready for you in a faster amount of time? So real quick, I don't want you to judge me on the condition of this steamer. It's been a rough winter, lots of salt, and it's taken a lot of wear and tear. This is the VX5000. This is where you fill it up with your water. Now the VX5000 wants you to fill it up with distilled water, which is interesting. And also, you can kind of hear some of that pressure releasing. And also, once you put the water in, you close this and you turn it on, then you have to leave it and let it heat up. You can't add more water even as the pressure goes down. So that's one facet of the VX5000. What's cool about the Vapor Chief Continuous Fill is that, you can see the gauge there, is that, you know, the boiler is separate from the place where you put the water. So you can actually do continuous fill into the Vapor Chief, and then the boiler is like separate and it just kind of filters in, I think. And this says do not use distilled water, tap water only. So that's one difference, is you don't have to go and buy a bunch of fancy distilled water. And this one fills continuously, whereas this one, they want you to use distilled water. And once you close up this cap, you have to let it heat up. So here we go, we've got the VX5000. All right, it's full. And the way you know it's basically done is there's this little catch area, and that basically fills up. And you know, hey, no more water. So you just go ahead and screw that tight. Screw, 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 screw. Basically until it stops going. All right, and then you know it's good. The VX5000 is full. Right now I'm gonna fill up my Vapor Chief. And this one has a slightly different opening there. And that's where you know this is as much water as that's gonna take. I'll just put this cap on. Although again, you can fill this up throughout the job, and we'll get started. All right, I'm about to turn both of these on, and I'm gonna set a timer and figure out which one goes faster. Boom, boom. Now when this red light goes off, or when this, oh, there you hear it starting to work. So the way you know that this one is ready to go is usually it's just a steady green light. I don't know what's going on right now, if it's trying to figure out, there it is, okay. So normally, you know this is ready to go when the green light is steady. Usually the pressure is nice and high for you. And then here, if you can see through, usually I know this is ready to go when it's right at about 4 on this gauge. And then I'll usually press this button and the pressure's ready to go. So let's see which one goes faster, this green light going off or this getting to 4. By the way, it's about 10:12 in the morning here. And so we are just going to see which one gets ready to go faster. Here you can see this. So if you spin it this way, the circle gets bigger. So that's just, you're gonna get more wet steam, I believe. You're gonna get more coming out. And then if you obviously turn it this way, you're gonna get less steam coming out. So wetter, more steam this way. And then just real quick on this allows the steam to come out, and this final one, if you can see it right through all that crud, or I just wear it all off, they're little water droplets. That almost turns into a pressure washer where you've just got a ton of moisture coming out. I like this third option for floor mats, but inside of a vehicle, I usually leave this off on the VX5000. So just real quick, this is the opening for the VX5000. This is the attachment here, and so speaking of the Vapor Chief, this is the hose that comes with it. You can see it just flips in right there. And then pretty much the only attachment I use is this. And then I use the triangle head one for steaming seats and floor mats and stuff, and carpets. But yeah, this has the one prong hole. It snaps right in, I think. Yeah, just like that. And this is your hose, and then this is a little button. Oh, that's even giving me a little bit of pressure now because I think we're getting pretty close. Well, that was awesome. I just tripped a breaker in the garage from using the VX5000. And that's a reminder that these are very powerful machines. So if you're gonna run a machine like this and a vacuum or an air compressor or pretty much anything else, lights, you might wanna consider bringing a generator along because these pieces of equipment will draw a lot of power. Now, do you see how this is at 0 right now? And even though this is flashing green and they only want you to use it when it's green, you see all the pressure that's built up there? So I'm not quite sure, that seems like a lot of pressure, but let's just give it a shot. So really, we are ready to rock and roll with this. It's not totally green yet, but if I had to, if I needed to use some steam, the Vapor Chief is ready extremely quickly, and this hasn't even gone past 0. So it is 10:22 a.m. and the Vapor Chief is solid green. You can see all the pressure there. I can flip this as much as I want all the way to here. 10:22 a.m. The VX5000 is still at 0, still heating up. If I'm on a job site, the Vapor Chief is ready to go. So that's incredibly fast. Not only does that heat up much more quickly than the VX5000 does, I can continuously fill this throughout the job. So you see how this is on right now? It's on, it's ready to go. I can fill up some water just in there. I'm not gonna need much because I already filled it to the brim, but I can keep doing that throughout a job, whereas once this is on, this is the boiler and the repository for the water. If I'm getting these words wrong, I apologize. But if this is on, I never wanna undo this. I only want to, I looked at the instructions, the only way you'd ever do it is if this is at 0 and this is off, and then you can unscrew it. And like we heard earlier, it hissed a little bit. So this has some limitations, especially on the front end and as far as like usage. I want you to see that this is a dirty floor mat, okay? Lots of dirt, lots of grime. And let's just see how she performs. By the way, have I mentioned to you guys how much I love a steamer for floor mats? So once you start to use this, you see it flash green. And when it's flashing green, I've been told by the Vapor Chief guy, Kevin, the Chief Steamer, you can still use it when it's flashing green. That's just being realistic. Like it's gonna be doing its thing. It's still heating up, but it's continuous fill. There's still a lot of pressure built up in there. It's flashing green, and we're gonna continue to steam this. We're definitely making progress. We just did all that steaming. This is flashing green. There's still pressure built up there. Let's check the old VX5000. It's up to 1 now, but it's not even ready to go yet, so I would be losing time on the job. One thing that I found out when I started using this, the VX5000 gives you a lot wetter steam. Like it will pump out a lot more water, and at first I was like, oh, this doesn't have as much power. But what I realized, especially on the interior of a car, is you can get yourself into trouble. Anyone who's had a steamer has probably done some damage with it, and that's why you have to be so careful. This puts out a little bit less steam. Let's just turn this knob, not all the way to the end. Okay, this is all the way to the end. Let's just turn it a little bit like this. But if you want to be really safe with it, that is more steam than it is moisture. It's kind of like a thicker cloud, but it's not super heavy duty. It still gets the job done. Still gets the job done. So at first I was used to just like a big sledgehammer with the VX5000, but at the end of the day, this Vapor Chief does everything you really need it to. The only thing that I'll show you later is that third button on the VX5000 can give you an incredible amount of moisture, which can be helpful to finish off or to really flush a floor mat like this. But so far, I mean, you can see, turn that back up all the way or all the way there. Still got a lot of pressure, still all green. Now, if I was using this, like really using it, you know, I'd be cranking away through a lot of steam, but we're all the way full there, so I don't even need to continuous fill. So it's not using that much steam And the VX5000 still isn't ready to use yet. Come on, VX. It's now 10:31, and if you're on a detail and you're really trying to get cranking, you're saying, okay, it's up at 3, let me try this. So when it's at 3, I might turn this on, and you'll watch the pressure just drop. See, it goes to 2. So it's not really ready for prime time in my experience. And it'll kind of work for you, but it's not really ready. It's not ready until this on its own goes all the way to 4. That's when you know it is rocking and rolling and ready to perform. And we're not quite there yet. Is it usable at this point? Yes, but you're not gonna get optimal steam, like I said, until you wait for this to get to 4. And man, sometimes you just don't have time to wait. I just wanna compare the hoses here. This one hasn't had any issues. It does feel a little flimsier. Like when you feel the VX5000 cord, it's harder, it's thicker. It's just like, this thing seems like it's ready to take industrial, very heavy duty usage. And you can see I've put it through its paces or whatever the saying is. This one feels a little flimsier, but I really haven't had any issues with it yet. Let's try the VX5000 on this mat. I'm gonna flip both switches. That's kind of how I like to use it. Let's try the bazooka, okay? This is the bazooka where, and that light just went on, so maybe that's telling us it's ready, and I've never even noticed that light existed before. Or maybe that means there's a problem, I don't know. But I've got all 3 on, so this third one is basically like extra moisture. So check out how much water. You're gonna hear it gurgling, and just watch this thing totally flood the floor mat. It can be helpful. You can kind of hear all that water cycling through the hose. So when it comes to floor mats and you just need a lot of moisture, I'm gonna get some of that off. When it comes to floor mats and you almost need a hose and you don't have one, the VX5000 can be an amazing option. See that? So that has the little extra bazooka power that the Vapor Chief does not have. Sometimes you have a certain feeling about things, but you have to write a list of pros and cons to kind of understand like where you're at as far as that goes. And I think by doing that, I think maybe I like the Vapor Chief better. The only problem is I had to send this thing in. There was a circuit breaker issue. Kevin did it all complimentary. It was a few months after I bought it. I was a little bit bummed. I sent it in. A week later, it was back, perfectly ready to rock and roll. Whereas this one didn't need any help, the VX5000, for almost a year of daily usage. This one was free to get it taken care of, and now she's back in the game. This one, I think, was like $150, $160 after shipping. Both are excellent machines. I mean, I think our tests have shown that the fact that this thing gets up and running faster and you can fill it continuously, it is a pretty damn solid option. I love the Vapor Chief for that reason, but it's not so much better than the VX5000 that I would say you have to have it. I got this one second, so I think this maybe is a newer product on the market for a lot of people. The VX5000 is maybe more of an established name, but both are quality products. I think the VX5000 is great, but I think after doing this video, the Vapor Chief, the Chief Steamer continuous fill option, I think it's the 100. I think this one just takes the lead by a little nose hair. All right, guys, thanks for watching.